Hello, welcome back to Morning Coffee Light Roast Edition, Episode 2. I'm really happy you guys are back, and I personally think that this next person that I'm going to be talking about has a very I guess everyone's going to have a very incredible and inspiring story. But this is something that I had heard about when I was younger, but wasn't very familiar with this person. So I'm very excited to share that with you guys today. Now, I do want to address that I listened to my first episode all the way through, trying to go in as if I were one of you guys just listening in for the first time. And I noticed that I was a bit nervous because the dynamic does change when you're used to, like, whenever we're doing the regular morning coffee episodes with Carolina, we can bounce off of each other. So I listened to the first episode and I realized that it's harder to speak out loud or to yourself without having somebody else kind of, address what you mentioned or react to what you just said. So I just ask that you guys keep pushing through with us as we get more comfortable, especially with these light roast and dark roast editions, as we begin to get accustomed to not hearing the other person or being able to bounce off of each other. But again, so happy you guys are listening in. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. You feel inspired by the time you finish. And if you have any suggestions or anybody you would like to listen to or listen about, please let me know. So let's jump in. Today we're going to be talking about J.K. Rowling. So 99% of you guys probably already know who this is, who I'm talking about, probably know a ton more than I do. But if you happen to be that 1%, don't worry. You're about to learn about who this person is. In short, J.K. Rowling is a creator of the Harry Potter fantasy series. So if you're a hardcore Harry Potter fan, you're probably thinking, I got this. Like, I know, like, everything there is to know. Now, we aren't going to really be focusing on Harry Potter itself, but more so the creator. So let's go back. Born in England on July 31st, 1965, born as Joanne Rowling, and then I will let you know kind of how that changed later. So after she graduated college, she moved to Portugal where she married her first husband and had her daughter Jessica in 1993. But that didn't last very long because afterwards she got a divorce. I think it was a little over a year. And she moved back to Edinburgh. She struggled to support her and her daughter and herself. And she was on welfare. So even then she was struggling to make ends meet. And the idea of the book actually has been said, and I actually watched an interview where she confirms this. She was traveling from Manchester to London on a train when the idea of a wizard boy came to mind, and she started getting flooded with all of these ideas. And so that concept of Harry Potter just, I guess, came to her, or she might have been brainstorming and the ideas just kind of started falling into place. So she had this idea, she's writing it, and when she got to the point where she wrote it, I believe that the first book was actually called Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Then it got changed. She sent it out to 12 publishers and got rejected every single time. And her agent even told her and mentioned, you're not going to make a lot of money off of a children's book, right? But on that 13th, and again, in this interview, they even talk about that, like 13th time was the charm. She got approved. She got a publisher to print out her first book. Now, J.K. Rowling is known to be the first billionaire author. Now, going back to her name, her pen name actually turned into J.K. Rowling because they wanted to use her initials, because they wanted to fool the boy readers into not knowing that the person who wrote that book was a woman. which is very interesting. And so since she didn't have a middle name, she decided to adopt that K stands for Kathleen, which is, she, in her words, claims was her favorite grandmother. So that's how it turned into J.K. Rowling. So, as always, there's a lot of details, a lot more details into it because of, again, I mean, if you know, she did remarry and, she had more kids, and there was a lot of like in between details, but this is just a quick overview of kind of, I think my main focus was her, I guess, rejection in getting published. And so again, I have takeaways just reading through, and I got these takeaways a lot, were really inspired because I watched, like I had mentioned already, an interview where she's talking about her life, her success, how she got there. And this is where the takeaways come from. So the first one is you have to believe. You have to believe in yourself, in the system, in the process, in God, just in something. You have to believe. Because it's that small hope or that small belief that you have that's what's going to push you through. That's going to say, just do it. Just, even if you are a negative person, even if you are somebody who claims to be very like a realist and just tries to see life as it is, you have to have a small smidge of hope somewhere deep down inside. Because through that process, let's say you don't expect your future to end up where you are, or what you'll get in that starting stage, that hope is really what's going to say, do it, send the email, send the text. It's just going to be that final push through to get you to finally, I guess, take the initiative. So that first one is just believe. You have to believe. I know that sounds it may sound corny or cheesy to some of you guys, but the truth of the matter is, there has to be some kind of belief in you, some kind of hope, some sense of hope. And if you feel like you have it, that is very hard for you to like self-generate that, find someone around you that has tons of it, or has enough that, or a perfect balance, let's say. A balance of, okay, this person has a sense of realism or seeing the world how it is, but also has, doesn't have that fear of believing in you, or loves you enough to believe in you, and you feed off of that, because eventually it's not so much, all these people believe in me, and at some point you're gonna have to take that small piece and take it from within, and again, that's what's gonna like come through when you need it most. The second one is fear of failure is just an excuse, and I'm gonna let that sink in. Fear of failure is just an excuse. Now, I didn't say fear of failure is wrong or doesn't exist. No, it's a legitimate feeling. We all, everyone I've ever known, I don't think I've ever, even go-getters, there's just at some small split second, fear of failure exists in all of us. So it's a legitimate thing. But the moment that it stops you, it becomes an excuse. The moment you tell yourself, I can't do it, I shouldn't do it, what if this, what if that, oh man, those what ifs, they really get the best of all of us. But it's that fear of failure. What if I fail? Okay, what if you do? So what? I guess this is a tough love Marilyn coming out in me. Because honestly, those people who are very close to me know that that's kind of how I'm driven. I'm driven on the, you can do it. You can accomplish whatever dreams you have. And the reality of it is you can. Like, maybe it's not exactly the way you imagine it. Maybe it's not going to happen the way you think it's going to go. Because, again, yes, life is life. Things happen. Things... Our plan is meant to be a little different than the exact same way. But you have to believe in yourself. You have to push yourself. You, like I talked about in the last... in the last episode, you find that passion, find what drives you. And so in this case, fear of failure oftentimes stops us from actually doing something. And then we get stuck with the what if. Man, what if I really would have gone for it? Or what if I really would have done this? And so you're living your life turning back and saying, oh, it could have been great. It would have been great, but you will never know because you never took the chance. So what if you had failed? You failed. You know what? Like I mentioned in the last episode, you get back up and you keep going and you keep fighting and you keep pushing through to the point where you say, I'm going to get here. No matter what, I'm going to get here. It can take me years. It doesn't matter. You know, J.K. Rowling mentioned that she loved writing since she was, I think, 5 or 6 years old. She knew she wanted to be a writer. I'm pretty sure then and there she didn't say, oh, I'm going to be this first billionaire author ever. But there was a part of her that says, I'm going to do it. Whether she was going to do it for money, whether she was going to do it for fame or for acknowledgement, the point is that she was going to write. And she even mentions that in her mind, yes, she did. She wrote her first novel, whether the world read it or not. She did, because that's something that she saw in herself, and she said, this is what I want to be. So fear of failure is legitimate, but you got to get through it. You got to move on you just have to take that, I guess, that leap of faith. So first point and second point kind of tie in together. Now this third one really just, I guess, reinforces my first 2 points, right? Persistence is super important. You kind of need that also to fuel you to keep going. So I looked it up because I think sometimes definitions really give you a strong or a better idea of like what this word really means. So persistence is a firm or obstinate continuance in a course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. Now, firm is one thing, but I looked up the word obstinate, and that means stubbornly refusing to change one's opinion or chosen course of action despite attempts to persuade one to do so. So we're talking about this stubborn, intense, firm continuance. No matter what, I am going to keep pushing through in spite of whatever difficulty comes our way. Because the truth, guys, is, we talk about life, and, the course of life that I've lived is not going to be the same that you as a listener have lived. You probably have experienced far worse things than I have. You probably have seen life in its ugliest forms in ways that I probably never have, and I never will. And that's okay. Let's not play the comparison game, because that's for another episode. But the truth is, we're all going to experience our own form of ugly in life. But that hope that you have, that belief that you have in yourself to say, I can do great things. Now, this is not to inflate your head and say, oh, I'm so great, I'm untouchable. That's not what I'm talking about here. But I'm talking about, striving for those goals you have, those dreams you have. If you want to become a doctor and you see there's no end to it, maybe the schooling and all of that, like, hey, push through, you got this. Maybe you go into law school and you see that it's extremely difficult, the hours you're putting in, or even if it's 4 years of college, or maybe you're having to work and go to community college and push through so then you can transfer, or maybe you want to start your own small business and you don't know where to start or how to start. No matter what it is you're striving for, I'm here to tell you, I may not know you personally, but you can do it. Find that belief in yourself. And if you can't, and you have nobody around you that has any positivity whatsoever, I have a ton to give. And here it is. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, I don't have anybody around me, yes, you do, because you're listening to me right now. So here is your push of positivity. You can do it. I believe in you. Second one, do not allow fear of failure to stop you, because it's just an excuse. You can do it. You can find a way. Have that persistence no matter what. No matter what. I don't want to be stealing this content from anybody, but write that down somewhere. No matter what. Because in the end, my brother-in-law says this all the time. If there's a will, there's a way. And that's just what it comes down to, guys. So, again, I feel like today was maybe more on the tough love. I'm definitely not trying to preach to you guys. It was just, her story was very inspiring. I mean, you guys see her success now. She's still writing. It's really, guys, it's not all about being all famous and everything. It's really about achieving your dreams. Like, if money comes along with it, wow, like, that's great, congrats. But in the end, like, just, I'd like to see everyone really pushing towards their dreams and goals and wanting to get things done. And so, again, if no one else, just know Marilyn I'm going to bring in Carolina as well. Marilyn and Carolina from Morning Coffee believe in you. You got this. Have a great day, and we'll see you on our next episode.